Today on Homeworthy, join us in historic Newport, Rhode Island as interior designer Eric Lysdahl tours the stunning 300-year-old Greek Revival mansion of his friend and client Marie Samuels. Despite the challenges of preserving the home's original features, Marie has created a warm, inviting space for her family, as we'll see through the home's beautiful living areas, spacious kitchen, and festive Christmas decor. Enjoy! This holiday season, get ready to unwrap the most magnificent holiday homes with Homeworthy's 25 Days of Christmas. For the month of December, we'll take you inside the most heartwarming houses, decked out for the holidays in true festive fashion. From twinkling lights and elegantly trimmed trees to sparkling ornaments and cozy holiday charm, these homes capture the warmth, wonder, and beauty that make this season so special. So join us as Homeworthy celebrates 25 Days of Christmas. The magic starts now.
Raise your glass. Cheers! Merry Christmas! Happy holidays!
You're watching Homeworthy, where we believe every home has a story.
Hi, Eric.
Hi,
How are
Marie.
you? Nice to see you. How are you? Please.
Wonderful to be here. Wow.
It's Christmas.
Oh, look at the stairwell. Look at the banister. I love it.
It turned
Love
into
it.
Christmas.
Oh, show me the rest of the house.
Oh, my pleasure.
Hi, I'm Eric Lysdahl, and I'm an interior designer from New York City, and I'm in Newport, Rhode Island today in the historic home of a dear friend and client, and I'm going to introduce her to you now. Marie, would you like to tell everyone who you are?
Sure. Hi. Welcome to Newport. I'm Marie Samuels, and this is my home. Thank you so much for coming, Eric. So we're in a 300 or so year old home, and it actually belongs to the city of Newport. It's a Newport Restoration Fund house, and this foundation was started in the 1970s by Doris Duke. And at the time, I believe she bought about 90 of these historic homes and saved them from the bulldozers that were going through most of the city at the time. This happens to be one of her favorites. It's a Greek Revival home, and yeah, I'm just a steward of this home, and it's actually the 5th home that I've lived in Newport since I've been here, right before the pandemic, and I think it's one of my favorites. Now, I cannot change a paint color, I cannot renovate, which is really hard for me. I'll do that outside the home now, but I feel so lucky to be here, and lucky that you're here and documenting such a beautiful, beautiful house. So thanks, Eric, for coming to Newport.
Of course, of course. Marie, I love this. I remember this painting from your home in New York.
Yeah,
Who
that
was the artist?
That was in the loft. Actually, a friend of mine who I met when my daughter was in preschool. Her name is Carrie Charlin, and she had a huge, very large-scale portrait show in Chelsea at the time, and I just fell in love with her. She's in her Spence uniform, and she was, at the time, obsessed with Spence girls. So the show was about that. So I thought that was funky and weird.
Well,
So I had to have it.
For the longest time, I thought that was your daughter, Kitty.
No, it kind of looks like my daughter, but in fact, it's not. She did not go to Spence.
Oh, okay. This is beautiful, and
Yeah,
I love
this
how
is my favorite. Just the fact that it was already pre-worn
Yeah, I love
in
that.
this particular area. In the house, I feel like there's so much that I'm obsessed with. The idea of beauty and imperfection, and the imperfection in beauty. I mean, even just the flooring, the giant wide planks that are, beaten up over 300 years. They're perfectly imperfect, just like these rugs. So
Yeah, it
I'm
looks
into
like
it.
it's always been here.
Yeah, really into these rugs.
Fabulous. I met Marie as a fellow student at New York School of Interior Design 30 years ago, and who could have foretold that she would become a client and such a dear friend?
I knew that we would be fast friends because one day we all had to do our presentations on a dream room. And you know, the average student walks in with the boards and the fabrics and they make their case for the room. Well, Eric walked in full regalia, riding boots, with the jodhpurs and the whip in the boot and the ascot. And I said to myself, oh, we're gonna be friends, whether he likes it or not. And so we've known each other for at least 30 years. And we've worked together on several projects in New York City. And yeah, he comes and visits in Newport. So that's how.
We've had a lot of fun. We did a townhouse in New York twice.
Gramercy Park.
Twice. Yeah. And then your house in Southampton.
Yeah, twice.
Yeah.
So, I've got a beachy, organic-y vibe Christmas thing going on here. And I'm hosting a party today for the historic hill, this particular historic area. And I wanted it just to be kind of organic and beachy, a little bit like a John Darien Provincetown kind of Christmas.
Oh, it's genius.
I was able to change the lighting fixture in here because it was a little staid and not very exciting. I just thought, like, let's make this a little bit more casual and a little bit more summer and beach because we are in Newport. Now, saying that, I take it down and I have to put it back up if I ever do leave the house, but they do allow us to do, you know, fun things, additions like that. And let me show you something else in here. These have been here for 300 years, and it's actually a silver storage built in. There's two of them. They're lit up from behind, and I'm sure Doris Duke had her people electrify this. And in fact, it's a hidden cabinet for your silver. You just have to tap on this corner, and then the door opens.
Oh, genius.
Right? Don't look
Genius.
inside because it's like Mr. Magoo's cabinet. There's no silver. It's a great spot for traditional portraiture and also like out there modernism, just to pop some color in here. And the more I photograph this and put it on Instagram or TikTok, people are obsessed with this kind of seafoamy blue green color. And one of my favorite things in this room is the old fireplace with all of this hand molding. And the color just makes it pop.
It's still so crisp.
Right?
After
that's
hundreds
original.
of years, it's fabulous.
Again, with a lot of decay, but it's perfect, just the way, I wouldn't even change it.
And I love how
Perfect.
your Bob Schneider painting has
Oh,
traveled
right, you
from
know the
Southampton.
artist.
Yeah, I know
Yeah.
Bob from Cooperstown, New York. Yeah. Wonderful plein air painter. And that was in Southampton in the dining room?
That was. And then I had a local artist who actually did that portrait of the cliff walk.
I like the dialogue.
Yeah, and he takes original lathing from these old houses and he frames them with that. So I had a gold frame taken off that from that artist, and he framed that for me to kind of match the vibe of old house.
Tell us about like these chairs. I love this chair selection around this sort of Louis XVI table. I love how they sort of hug it.
Well, I think I was going in a more Swedish modern sort of direction here so that I didn't get too fussy, too antique, too grandma's house. But I like the reference to the Gustavian kind of French table to match the moldings and the architecture in here. I found an antique console and I thought, oh, this is perfect. Again, like we have so many great resources in Newport for antiques. And then I found those I think they're Hepplewhite.
Directoire, yeah.
Oh, sorry, Directoire.
Yeah, they're
Directoire
fabulous.
chairs, again, from a
I love this
dealer.
detail.
And I think those are original. The upholstery is original. I mean, I don't want any...
to find them that still have this back upholstery with the cake like that and the piping.
And I don't think I want anyone to sit in them. I just think they're ornamental. I have a green cabbage and a white cabbage thing going on here. So I took out Grandma's green vintage trees.
Love it.
Right? And lit that up a little bit. And then the same thing for the other side now.
Oh no, the
Eric,
cockatiels.
please
Oh, I love these.
tell us about the birds.
Oh, well, these I remember because we bought these together for your Southampton house, these mice and
Well,
cockatiels.
And I think in Southampton, these were actually lamps.
We had them mounted as lamps.
Yes. And sorry, but I tore it apart and I thought they were so pretty, even not being a lamp.
No, I always would have preferred them as as a sculpture as opposed to, but they were sensitively mounted because I think they just sat on the base and then the brass rod came up behind it. So
Yeah.
nothing had to be drilled.
So with my own hands, I tore it apart.
I love the dialogue of the Damien Hirst with the candies on the table.
And
Genius.
traditional
Right.
landscape.
Right, but you were forced to deal with this palette, this historic sort of verdigris green.
I'm placing myself and my personality within these unusual for me colors. And the more I move things and hang new pieces of art, the more I absolutely love this color because it makes some of the pieces, like even this contemporary small piece, pop. I'm in love with working with color now. I may not do it all the time, but it's definitely a fun challenge. It's like a design challenge.
In the early days, a couple of kind of knockdown, drag out fights about what to do. I mean, you wanted to paint a paneled room and I was having a coronary over it, but you know, it took me 3 years to come around and you were right. It was way more successful. So I have learned to lean into a lot of Marie's more daring modernist instincts. It's been really a wonderful, refreshing collaboration. I mean, the working together, but also our friendship and how I've watched your daughter grow up, you know, like from birth, really.
Yeah,
And,
yeah. Well, it's funny. You definitely have a more historic kind of referenced way of doing an interior. That said, I do like a modernity and a livability in a home, and that has led me to maybe paint very dark walls or panels in a lighter color. However, I will never, probably because I've learned so much from you, I've never torn out a fireplace mantle. I've never torn out paneling. I do believe in what was there 200 or 300 years ago as it was in Gramercy Park. It needs to stay. Now, does that mean I want to live in Dracula's lair? No, probably not. But I've never torn anything out. So we have a yin and a yang.
well, let's see the rest of the house. What's next? The living room?
Living room, let's go.
Okay, after you. Wow. Oh, this is so fresh and soft and pretty, and I love the tree. Oh, and I love the Frank Stella there. It's perfect. Perfect.
Well, this is such a soft yellow, so this really wasn't much of a challenge. It's a whisper of a yellow, so it was a lot easier.
So tell me about this gorgeous tree that you decorated in here. Where did you find these shell ornaments? They're marvelous.
Well, I collect a lot of seashells, and it's a problem. I have a lot of them, so I decided just to make use out of them and turn them into ornaments with my drill. No big deal, but I did add a lot of like sparkle to them. It's just fun and natural.
Yeah.
Everything I do, especially for Christmas, I want it to look like it's Newport and natural and beach. So that's where
Oh, perfect.
that is coming from.
This is not a trick question, Marie, but I think we all have to ask ourselves this and ask other people. What does Christmas mean to you?
Oh gosh, I can tell you what it doesn't mean. I've learned to really not like gift giving during the holidays. I pretty much get the things I need all year long, and as does my daughter and husband, and I feel like it's slightly wasteful. But I will say, I like a good fake wrapped present under the tree. So,
And you've done a great job
Thanks.
with those.
So in the spirit of that question, it's really just about getting together and having incredible food, really nice bottles of wine, and just being with your friends and your family.
Well said. So Marie, explain to me how you laid the furniture out in this room and what some of the furniture choices were. Like, I mean, I adore those crewel work chairs. So, but you tell me how you put this room together.
Well, this room isn't typical for me because I do tend to like more modern furniture. And I knew I couldn't do that here because although it looks like a large room, It's really not. It's a perfect square, and I knew I had to take advantage of the alcoves and the corners for a lot of the placement of the furniture. Believe it
It's
or not,
very
I
symmetrical.
copied something out of the decorations of homes from Edith Wharton.
Always had great art in your homes. Interesting objects. So I have to ask you about this. What is this? Tell me about this. This is really fabulous.
Okay, so this is actually a Yinka Shonibari. I think I'm saying his name right, and he is a English African artist, and his work is about colonialism in Africa. So you'll notice that this is an old, probably colonial gun with traditional African fabric shooting out of them. So a lot of his work has that kind of tension of English and then the territories that the English took over. Yinka Shonibari, yeah.
Wonderful. And what about the painting over the fireplace?
Well, she is a local artist, and I am just obsessed with her work. And I ended up buying 5 or 6 of them, and I did give her 2 different art shows in a space where I curate art, and we sell her work like crazy. And she has such a wonderful process of looking at nature and manipulating nature. She lives over by the beach, and she grinds like old stones and shells, and she uses some of the pigments in the pieces. And I find her work, as abstract as it is, kind of fascinating and tactile.
Marie, what is this fabulous little house here? Now tell me about this.
Okay, again, this is a local artist, and I've shown his work before. And you think, oh, is that cotton candy? And in fact, it's building material, it's insulation. And he uses that as a material over and over again. And he finds so many creative ways to interpret building materials. And I just love that piece because it is unexpected and weird.
It does look like a cotton candy house.
It does,
Yeah.
yeah.
So Marie, you've been my client and friend for 30 years, and I know that you collect contemporary art, and many of your previous homes, a few of them which I've worked on with you, become gallery spaces for your artwork. So I can only imagine how frustrating it is to be sort of handcuffed by the rules of living in this historic property that you're not allowed to change the paint colors because they're all historic. Now tell me how you deal with that.
Well, actually, it's so funny. I thought, oh boy, this is going to be so hard for me to curate art around so much color and so many historic restraints. And I'm actually having so much fun with that challenge. And you'll see there are rooms that are raspberry red and canary yellow, and interesting paintings pop into my mind because I have quite a few storage spaces filled with art. So like the kitchen is canary yellow. So immediately I thought of the giant shrinky-dink chicken piece of art, which pops completely in a canary yellow space. So actually, I'm super into it. So thanks for asking.
You've got a wonderful little nook in this area off of the living room here. Let's talk about this. I want to see this. Cozy.
Well, and raspberry.
I know, wow.
It is bright raspberry, even on a cloudy New England day like today. But I'll tell you, it's the perfect backdrop for all of my little small curio art pieces. And I've packed it with quite a lot, actually. There's some really interesting little pieces that may not fit on a large wall, but in a cubby, I'm obsessed.
And it's evocative of an 18th century collector's cabinet where they'd have these little room of curiosities and books and pieces of art and objects, and it's so well curated, and I love this.
Oh, that's a great piece of art. That's from Alejandro Diaz, and it's just my personality. It's irreverent and kind of funny.
Very tongue-in-cheek.
Yeah, and just so you know, Eric, not one thing here is from Home Goods. This is all collected art. I spend more time on my bookshelves than I do decorating the whole house.
So what do you call this room? What is this?
My husband and I call it the raspberry study. We read books, we watch TV. We obviously get very comfortable here, so it's a little messy, but I allow myself and my husband to do that here. And yeah, I feel very comfortable here.
Surrounded by interesting and very personal objects.
Yeah.
It's really a wonderful
Yeah,
collection.
I love it. So this is my beautiful little cat, and her name is Marilyn. I have a daughter, and her name is Kitty, but this is my cat named Marilyn.
Well, this house, being a historic house, has had sort of two lives. There's the early 18th century colonial life of the house, but what we're going to see more of was the second rendition, the Greek revitalization of the house, and there is a magnificent ballroom on the third floor that was it Mr. Collins? He was a lieutenant governor of
Correct, yeah.
Rhode Island. Yeah.
For 8 years, I believe, yeah.
Yeah, that's probably like my favorite space. And then the dining room, I would say, is probably one of my favorite.
Well, the dining room for sure is my favorite, and there are secret compartments there, and I just think that Doris Duke, apparently this was one of her favorite homes, and I believe the dining room was probably her favorite as well. Yeah. So it's a special house. Yeah. Greek revival, and now it's like a modern revival with some crazy art.
So show me the kitchen. I want to see the heart of the house.
Come on in.
Oh my God, I love this color.
It's very Canary.
Very.
Now you see what I mean
Oh,
about pulling
that.
Pieces out of a storage room that match Canary. I mean, when's the last time you saw that piece of art?
Ages.
It's been a while, but it works with this crazy Canary color. And then you just take everything down with like very like rough hewn wood, and it just suddenly works in, like I keep saying, almost in a John Darien sort of vibe. It's a little crazy, but yeah.
But on a gray winter day like this cabinetry is very alive, and it's warm and it's cheerful.
I mean, and this whole original wood surround, I mean, you can't remake this kind of charm, this kind of patina. There's so much great patina everywhere here. And don't forget to get my kitty bowls. They're part of the design element.
Are they?
Yeah.
So tell me about this extraordinary piece of art. I mean, it works so well in here.
Well,
Who is the artist?
you may or may not have ever seen this because it's been in storage for so long. But I think his name was Philip Simmons, and I met him at an art fair somewhere out in Brooklyn many, many years ago. And I just had to have the giant shrinky-dink chickens. Now, saying that, it's not the easiest piece of art to place in a home, but since I have a canary yellow kitchen, I think it works perfectly. It needed to come out and play.
Wonderful.
Don't you agree?
It's perfect.
It's perfect.
I've noticed throughout the house you have these wonderful wide plank floors, which you can't even get boards like that anymore. These have to be the almost 300 years old, some of these, and I love the splits in the planks. And you can see the square nail heads. Like,
Yeah.
tell me about.
Well, they're perfectly, again, imperfect, and it's my favorite thing about a Newport house. And fun fact about Newport: if you see one of these old houses with the original flooring in them, it means that the British, when they occupied Newport for 2 years, they would move into these houses that they really liked. And the ones that they thought they didn't want to bother with, they tore the floors up and they started building boats in the harbor. So this would have been a house that the British colonels or lieutenants would have taken over to live in. So these are original. So there's proof of that.
Wonderful. And you can probably imagine their boots stamping through here. I mean, look at this marvelous split in the plank here. I don't know if that's a knot in the original board, like right here.
Just
fabulous.
All over the house, the big wide plank and the imperfections, just fantastic.
So I love these painted cabinets, and I love the little filleting in the doors. Now, I recognize these blue opaline goblets. They were your mother-in-law's. She had them in her home in Palm Beach that I decorated for her years ago.
I had the opportunity to pick whatever I wanted from her collection of china and glassware. And I've always had my eye on these. I filled it in a little bit from eBay. I think she originally left me 14 and I must have at least 20. And now they're getting harder and harder to find. So it's fun to be able to see them. And weirdly, the yellow kind of shows it off really nicely. And I also just love the fact that when people are coming over, this is an impromptu bar with all the glassware that my guests can easily just help themselves. That's where the red wine is, the white wine, the champagne. It's just easy. No one is really rifling through anything. So I just love this kitchen. As old and dated as this is, and I usually do renovate a brand new kitchen, this is an extraordinary space, and for a house like this, it's incredibly large. So, and great opportunities to hang crazy art.
It has to be the most unusual holiday tree arrangement I've ever seen. Now, you've got to tell me about this.
Well, again, I want to keep everything kind of organic. So I got some beach grass and then some leaves, like little sparkly leaves and birds. And I wanted it to be big and bold, but not in your face. So did I do it?
Yeah, it has a wispy, lilting quality to it, and it's very organic, and it works wonderful with this console.
Yeah, and I'm going to set the bar up tonight right in front of this mirror.
Now tell me about the garlands on the banister.
Well, they're just, what are these leaves called?
Magnolia leaf?
And then I had an opportunity to use baby's breath, which I'm now weirdly obsessed with again. I went to a wedding and an entire pavilion on a beach was made out of baby's breath. So I just took a beat from a wedding I was just in Punta Cana, and I just thought they looked really good and soft and beachy. Again, another opportunity for a crazy piece of art.
Oh, I love it.
Eric, you totally recognize this one. This came straight out of Southampton.
Yes.
And because Newport is a summer community, I just had to include this. Nice big wall. It's unexpected. Again, it's a little odd, but I love it.
Now, what is going on here? Was this your daughter's dollhouse or something? I mean, this is crazy looking.
Okay, so actually, the only piece of art here is this. This nutty looking chair is a Katie Stout, and she recently came to Newport, and I met her and had never met her in New York, and I don't know, I just found this nutty looking aluminum house, and I thought, oh, kind of like the Wizard of Oz. The Katie Stout could be like trampling the house.
Yeah.
Because otherwise I didn't really know how to place the work, so I had a little bit of an obsession with New Bedford and the junk stores there, so that's where I found it.
Oh, that's a great resource.
Yeah.
Let's go up to the ballroom now. Wow. Now this is really the most stellar space in the house.
So originally, when this was built by Collins, I think, it was meant to be a ballroom. So all of this would have been open. I left these doors off, and I kept the doors on here for a master bedroom and then a suite off of it. But you can see how when all of this is open, they probably had concerts. And
Right.
You're the musician, so you can imagine like a piano forte and violins and chairs, and you can see the chair rails everywhere where
Right.
they would hang the concert chairs. So I just think it's such a unique and beautiful example of Greek revival.
Yeah, it's incredible that it's still here, and these wonderful fluted fan light
Yeah.
details, fan molding details over these arches.
And it just makes an incredible guest suite. Come on into the bedroom and see my cat's jungle gym.
So show me what you did with this half of the ballroom.
So this is the main guest bedroom. And for it, I didn't want to go too antique or too stuffy. I was thinking more like a Soho House kind of vibe where there's some vintage things and then there's some new things. And my cat really loves it here because she's a gymnast. So up here, there are two main fireplaces. There's one over here and then one that mirrors it exactly on the other side. Again, the wide plank floors are incredible up here. I did find this vintage rug, and I did one of my tricks where I didn't love the saturated red color, so I turned it upside down.
Oh, so this is the back of the room.
Yeah, so it's a more muted color, and I think I just like it better.
That's really clever.
One of my little tricks.
And I love this upholstered tester bed.
Yeah, again, it's Marilyn's favorite place.
So tell me a little about this upholstered tester bed, which Marilyn seems to be having a very good time with.
Well, I wanted a ginormous bed in this space, and I also didn't want it to take up too much visual weight because I think these rooms up here are so special and so ornate that I wanted it to just sort of fade into the background, as well as being a very comfortable and giant bed. And so I just kind of color matched it. And I thought, yeah, I don't know, as big as it is, it sort of just melds.
It's a great choice.
And it's kind of nautical. I went a little bit nautical because there is a widow's walk right above us, and it would have been the space where someone would have gone up to the widow walk and waited for their sea captain husband to come home. So I'm just nodding to the nautical up here. And so you'll notice over here is a very tall ladder that leads to a widow's walk, a cupola, where, believe it or not, you can see the entire bay, even to the mouth of the bay over by Fort Adams. Wow. So this was definitely a sea captain trader's house.
Incredible.
And I mean, just look at the architectural detail up here, the Greek Revival. It's, I think, one of the prettiest examples I've seen of that in Newport.
You have this great sitting room up here as well.
Well, yeah, it's really the guest space, but we end up watching movies here because it's so comfortable and just cozy up here. And so beautiful.
Right, and it's a suite. So
Yeah.
you have the bedroom and then you've got the sitting room
Yeah.
here. So your guests have like their own apartment on the top floor of the house.
I will say the later the party goes on, the higher up into the house we go.
Oh,
And
okay.
this is a great place to end the evening. And I do have a hidden bar in the back.
So this is the Vera Charles passing out room
Yes.
from Auntie Mame.
We have so many great upholstery stores and design stores in Newport. I think I bought these. I don't know the name of the fabric. These, I believe, are Schumacher. Had those made. I forget what that one is, but I had it made.
I love this.
I do a little bit of both. I mean, I'm a little lazy. I'll just order furniture, but then I do care about the pillows.
I love the choice of this tall table and stools in the middle, dividing the two rooms. Now, what was that all about?
That was very deliberate. So I knew I needed a reception table in a space like this, but my daughter and her friends are the main guests up here. She's 28, and she and her friends are always on their computers, and they rarely sit on their computers. They're standing. So I thought it was a great moment to have like a more modern kind of waist height working table, because believe it or not, when they come to Newport, they also work. They never stop working.
And she must have a lot of friends in the area because
Yeah.
she went to college at Brown, and that's in Rhode Island.
She
yes?
does. She has
Yeah.
a few friends here, but generally she brings her New York, Brooklyn friends up.
Oh, fun.
And they love Newport.
And they get a vacation to come up.
They get a
here.
mini vacation, yeah.
Wonderful. So what is this is this like a portable Christmas tree that you can like put in a guest room or
Okay.
something? Like I love the whole like
You've caught me mid-installation. That is a Christmas piece of art that I don't know quite where I'm going to hang yet, but I think it needs to come out.
So Marie, tell me and tell the viewers, because this is the question in every video. What does home mean to you?
Oh gosh. For me, home is where the art is and probably where the booze are.
We know that you serve a magnificent
I do
cocktail.
like a good party. So
Yes. Yeah.
I don't know how else to answer that.
That's
Thanks for asking.
very true to form, absolutely. Yeah, you are a hostess.
Okay.
With the mostest. So part of the role of being a well-behaved and mannered guest is knowing when to leave. And this is my cue to head back to New York. But Marie, I want to thank you so much for offering this tour and this glimpse into your beautiful home.
Well, this is my favorite thing, is sharing how much I love Newport. So thank you so much for coming all the way up to Newport, and hopefully you come back again. And again, I love Newport, and I hope that shows.
Absolutely, it does. And so we want to wish you everyone watching a wonderful holiday season, Christmas, Hanukkah, Kwanzaa, whatever you celebrate, and a healthy and prosperous 2025, and we'll see you all soon.
Hi, Eric. Thanks
Bye.
so much.
Thank you so much.
Oh, it's my pleasure.
Thanks for watching. Be sure to go to homeworthy.com for exclusive content, shopping guides, and so much more.